If you're an athlete, you know the greatest motivator of all is the fear of letting your teammates down. After all, a team is only as good as its weakest link. So you owe it to those wearing the same jersey as you to be your best every time you step on the field. That's why there's no vape in team. When you vape, you can expose your lungs to toxic chemicals that can damage your lungs. If you're a step behind, the team's a step behind. Brought to you by The Real Cost and the FDA.
This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. Then today's episode, excuse me. So, I wanted to talk on this whole situation with Nintendo and Palworld because I made a video talking about it. I made a tweet. Some of you guys might have seen the tweet. But anyways, Nintendo is, I guess, trying to do something surrounding the whole Palworld situation. And it sounds like they're wanting to overall shut down Palworld because it's infringing on their copyrights and crap. My thing is this. You know, I understand that the game does resemble Pokemon, you know, a tad bit. It does. That's something that I said when I very first started playing the game, that it reminded me of Pokemon and Legend of Zelda. But others have said that it reminded them of them two games. Ark. I'm trying to think of some other games that came out. Elden Ring. I done seen a lot of games get compared to Palworld. But the thing is this, though. If people wanted to play those games, they would save up the money to get a Nintendo Switch. They'll play Pokemon and Legend of Zelda. If they wanted to play Elden Ring, they'll go out and buy that game. If they wanted to play Ark Survival, Ark 2, or any other Ark game that's out, they'll play that game. But people want to play Palworld. Now, there is something in Palworld that Palworld has that attracts an audience. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. But you think of it like this, all right? If you have a gaming PC or Xbox or whatever, you can play Palworld on both, all right? So for me, like, I have them all. And when it comes down to it on which is cheaper, Palworld or Legend of Zelda and Pokemon, I have to play two games, and I could just get the experience in one game, all right? Yeah, it might not be the same exact thing, but overall, I had to buy two games, and I could just go and get me one game where it's cheaper. And the funny thing about it is, like, I don't even need no subscription. Well, yeah, you don't need no subscription service to play Legend of Zelda and Pokemon, because I believe both of those games are single player games. But you can play online with your friends in Palworld. I didn't seen so many people play online with their friends in Palworld. And I think at the rate that game is going, where you got all these people that like the game, I'm saying, I don't understand why it's an issue that this game exists when there's so many games out there that exist where somebody done compared it to another game. I'm a fan of racing games, and I can tell you guys right now, whether it's an arcade racing game, a rally racing game, a street racing game, a professional racing game. I'm saying there are so many different racing games where you can compare one to the other. For an example, Need for Speed Most Wanted and Midnight Club. Both of those games was coming out around the same time. You didn't see EA and Rockstar getting into, unless they did, and I just didn't see it. But I didn't hear of no battle between them two. They just allowed their games. One was coming out with their games, the other was coming out with their games. They wasn't even worried about the other parties. All right? Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo. Both of those games are the same. You don't see Sony and Microsoft getting into no battle between them two games because they just allow those games to exist. Rally racing games. You got Dirt Rally 1.0 and 2.0, and then if you also include Dirt 4, because Dirt 4 also has some rally stuff. I think all the Dirt games have rally stuff in it. But anyways, No, now thinking about it, I don't think 5 had no rally racing. I think that was just a regular racing game and stuff. But regardless, all right. Dirt Rally 2.0 and the WRC games. Both of those games are rally games. You don't see EA and who's behind Dirt again. Isn't it Codemasters? I think it's Codemasters. I don't know. But anyways, you don't see those companies going back and forth between those two games. So that's why I'm like, fam, it is okay for two games that look alike and sound alike and resemble and like might as well be twins. It's okay for those games to exist. But my issue is that if Nintendo does decide to go through with, shutting down Palworld because they feel that it's infringing on their copyrights, I said it in the video and I said it in the tweet. I will never play a Nintendo game again. Throughout my years of living, I will have no desires on playing a Nintendo game again. Because here it is, a game that done came out where millions of people across the world done played this game. You even have it where I can tell you guys right now, my experience when playing Palworld, it has always been good. Always been good. I haven't been playing the game lately because I've been playing a bunch of retro games and stuff, but I can tell you guys right now, if it came down between playing Palworld and Legend of Zelda or Pokemon, I'm playing Palworld. So that's my own personal opinion. I shouldn't have to be confined to just playing one game when there's another game that exists where I find more entertainment and joy out of that. So that's why I'm like, Nintendo, the thing is this, you have to understand that at the end of the day, it's the gamers on what we have a say-so on what games we're going to play and what we're not going to play. And if we decide to play Palworld, that's our choice. If we don't want, because there's people out there that don't like Palworld. There's people out there that's not going to play that game. And that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to take that away from people. I'm not going to have it where it's like, oh, the only way for us to be friends is if you play Palworld. I'm not going to have that conversation with people. Because that's not a normal conversation. Just like with Nintendo, it's like that's not normal to tell people. It's like if that's the narrative that you guys are trying to put out, that you want people to play your game over Palworld, that's not going to happen. Because you got it where people already done bought this game. So that's why I'm like, okay, let that be the case where you guys do shut it down and people can't play the game no more. Or at least the thing is this, won't be able to buy the game no more unless the developers is like, well, since we can't work on the game, we're going to shut down the servers. If that is the case, then like I said, I will have no desires on playing because if Nintendo, if the conversation did transfer over to where Nintendo did win like some lawsuit and Palworld has to be taken out of Steam and Xbox on this particular day, and that's even more so a reason why I truly believe that won't happen, because not only do the developers behind the game, they got their money to put up. I guarantee and I promise you, if Steam and Microsoft, that will probably be the hardest collaboration of all time, because Steam ain't gonna want it to where one of their top selling games, because I'm pretty sure Steam is making some money off of Palworld. So I highly doubt it'll be a situation where Steam is gonna let that game go. And especially on top of that, if the game is good ratings, it's a working game and all that stuff, Steam ain't gonna want to let that game go. I know Microsoft is gonna want to let that game go too, and that's probably one of their most successful games on the Xbox Game Pass. So that's why I'm like, I know for a fact that Steam, Microsoft, and the developers behind Palworld will all come together and they will put on the strongest case that they possibly could. And if they were to lose, do you understand how bad that would be for Nintendo? I guarantee and I promise you, not only me, but a lot of people will be like, no, we're boycotting Nintendo. I have no desires on playing a Nintendo game ever again. And that's going to be a lot of people. Because I'm like, no, because I know people will probably ask, like, what would you do in a situation like that? You look up and you can't play Palworld no more. They are like, the developers is going to shut down the servers. The game's going to be taken out of stores. For one, I would sell my Nintendo Switch. I would, I'll probably, just keep my account up, in case of, I guess if there is ever a day where Nintendo do decide to just let that stuff go and Palworld comes back, then I'm like, okay, cool, I still got I'll keep the account and stuff, but I'm not going to play no games. I'm like, the thing is this. That's like if WWE were to look at AEW and be like, oh, we're shutting you guys down because you got wrestlers that resemble our wrestlers. Or it's like, let's say it's a situation where it's like, oh, you got Dusty or Dustin Rhodes carrying on like Cody Rhodes. It's like he wearing suit and got blonde hair and all this stuff, and it's all like, or you got a Hispanic wrestler that looks like Rey Mysterio. Or that's like a action-packed movie. That's like Tom Cruise and the Mission Impossible people shutting down Keanu Reeves in the John Wick movies. Because the thing is this, what people need to understand is that there are going to be fans for the two parties of whatever the situation is. You can put whatever is salt and pepper, freaking a Nike and Adidas, what are some other, Chevy and Ford. You're always going to have two parties. That's one thing that people need to understand, is that you're always going to have a competition when it comes to something, all right? You're always going to have a competition. But them two parties, they're deserving of the fans that they have. Ford and Chevy, salt and pepper, Nike and Adidas, freaking WWE and AEW, NFL, XFL, NBA, WNBA. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. Yeah, it's like McDonald's, Burger King, Macy's, JCPenney's. What are some other, if it's like makeup, Sephora and Victoria's Secret. Does Victoria's Secret sell makeup? But regardless, all right, you guys are understanding my point and stuff. But I'm saying, it's like, you have to understand, it's like, even that's like if I were to, be like, oh, I'm going to take down this YouTuber's video because he's a black man with glasses and he does reaction videos and he reacts to the same videos that I react to. The thing is this, I'm always for a competition. That's something where I'm like, I can tell you guys right now that throughout my years of being a content creator, I have never been worried about what another person is doing. Never. I'm only worried about myself when it comes to content creating, on what video I'm going to put out next, what podcast episode I'm going to put out next, what TikTok video I'm going to put out next, music. I'm not worried about nobody else when it comes to content creating. So that's why I'm like, it's stuff like that where it's like, Nintendo, what do you guys got going on that you're like, that you guys are so worried about? Because my thing is this, if your guys' games were that good, people would be playing that over Palworld. But you got people out there playing Palworld over Pokemon and Legend of Zelda. So what does that overall say? What does that overall say about your guys' game? If you're that blind to admit that you guys got some flaws with your games, then bruh, you shut down. No, if Palworld shuts down, then you guys need to shut down too. Or at least shut down Legend of Zelda and Pokemon. Yeah, come out with some movies, do whatever you need to do with that. But other than that, I'm like, no, if Palworld shuts down, then you guys need to shut down your guys' games. But I highly doubt that you guys are going to do that. So that's why I'm overall saying, y'all need to leave Palworld alone. Because the hate surrounding Palworld, that is some insane stuff. I've never seen a game do well and it gets hate. That's crazy. That is some insane stuff. But I'm trying to think of, but like the games that I named off, where it's like with racing games, you're going to see, bruh, you're going to see, so you can go on YouTube right now and look up Gran Turismo 7 and Forza Motorsport comparison. And there's going to be somebody on there racing a Mustang, racing a Ferrari, same track. Because, no, that's the thing to explain to you guys about. I think I explained this the last time I talked on Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo and this whole Palworld and Legend of Zelda and Pokemon conversation, that there are tracks in both it's the same exact tracks in both Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport, and it's crazy. So yeah, let's say there's the one track, I don't think they have that track in Gran Turismo, but let's just say that they did, because it's the only track that I can think of right now. But there's a track in Forza Motorsport called Maple Valley, right? So let's say if that was like an actual real life track and they had that track, they do have it in Forza Motorsport, but then they also had it in Gran Turismo. Somebody can take both of those tracks in both games, take a Ford Mustang, Shelby GT 500, same color, same everything. You're going to see that it's the same exact thing, but Forza Motorsport is going to have their version of doing it, and Gran Turismo is going to have their version of doing it. So at the end of the day, it's like Nintendo, you can't get on the people behind Palworld, and it's like, yeah, the game might resemble your guys' game, but it's different. Y'all need to understand that. Same goes with anybody else that's spreading hate towards Palworld. It's, yeah, the games might resemble each other somewhat, but it is two different games. One is called Pokemon, the other one is called Palworld. So that's why I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to hear none of that over, oh, well, they're doing, I don't care. I do not care about none of that. And my thing is this. Let's just say if that is the situation where they do decide to shut down Palworld, people, I encourage, I encourage you guys to buy it on both Xbox and Steam. Those are the two platforms where that game's available on. At least if it's a situation where we won't be able to buy the game no more, at least we'll still be able to play it. You know, hopefully they do some stuff where it's like, if that is the case, then they just put out an update where it's like you can play the game offline and then just, I guess, play it until the game just stops working one day. But hopefully if that is the case, the people behind Palworld does some stuff like that. But I highly encourage any and everybody out there that is a fan of Palworld, buy that game, because it sounds like Nintendo is trying to do something about that game existing. So anyways, and that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Make sure you follow me across all social media platforms at TMossBoss. Make sure you also like and subscribe if you're viewing this on YouTube. Follow or subscribe if you're viewing this on podcast streaming service. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.